All right, I am going to guide you through the inquiry lab. You have to do the first 3 investigations, so 1, 2, and 3, and then you're going to be working on problems 1 through 17. I'll do some of them together, and you'll have to finish the rest on your own. So, here is the point of today's inquiry lab. It says, how does finding the area of a parallelogram relate to finding the area of a rectangle? Now, I'm going to try to show you in investigation 1, 2, and 3 on the video. Now, if you were in class, you would have seen it with the graph paper and cutting it out, and it would have been easier to understand. So I will do my best. Now, remember, a parallelogram has opposite sides that are parallel and congruent. So here are some examples. The left and right are parallel, the top and bottom are parallel, they're all equal. Same thing. Left and right are equal and parallel, so are the top and bottom. Same thing here. These are not parallelograms. In this one, the top and bottom are parallel, but the left and the right are not. This one is all crazy, and so is this one. So they are not parallelograms. Now, as we go through steps 1 and 2, just kind of stick with me, see if you can figure out what I'm talking about. So we would start with a rectangle, and you learn in elementary school to find the area of a rectangle, you do 2 times 3. And you'd get 6. Pretty easy. That's why the area formula for rectangles back in elementary school was just simply area is length times width. Now, how does that relate to a parallelogram? Now, if you look in step 2, we're going to take the rectangle in blue right here, and we're going to change it to a parallelogram. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to cut, well, you would be cutting off this corner right here. And then we would move it over to this side of the shape. Now, by doing that, we now have a parallelogram that looks kind of like one of these guys here. But notice all I did is when I cut off this corner here, I moved it over here. So nothing really changed as far as the area. So the area should still be 6. Now, how does that come from? Or how do you then get the formula for area of a parallelogram? Now remember, the area of a parallelogram is area is base times height. So here's the thing that's kind of cool, I think at least, is this bottom here is still 2 feet. Because, remember, we just moved that bottom over to here. And the height is still 3 feet. You have to measure straight up. We can't measure these slanted lines because they're not the height. So this height and this base are the same as the length and width of the rectangle. So you would still just do 3 times 2. Now, if I read this, it says the rectangle was rearranged to form the parallelogram. Nothing was removed or added, so the parallelogram has the same area as a rectangle. Now, in step 3, find the base and height of the parallelogram to find the area. The base is 2 feet, and the height is 3 feet, and 2 times 3 is 6. So that's supposed to show you how those two formulas are related. Now, when I go to the page, this is another one where it would be much easier it would have been easier to show you in class how to do this. So this is one where you would actually be cutting out to find the area of this parallelogram. So here's basically what we're going to do. To find the area of this parallelogram on grid paper, we're going to have to count all the square units. The problem is it's very difficult when you try to count these little pieces here. Like how do you, this is a little tiny piece, this is a little bigger, so it's not easy to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to rearrange it to a rectangle that would have the same area. So here's what I would basically do is I would cut out this triangle here to get a straight line here for the side of my rectangle. And what I would do is I would move that triangle over here. Now, by cutting that out, I'm going to try to see if I can somewhat kind of erase. How am I going to do this to show you guys? Okay, so I'm going to kind of just erase this triangle over here because remember I cut it off. And remember I moved it over. Let me see if I can get this good here. I think that's going to work. I moved it over here to make it kind of part of the rectangle. So by doing that, I now have a rectangle that has the same area. So this rectangle will have the same area as the parallelogram did before. All I did was move this side over here. Now, it's much easier to figure out the area of the rectangle because all I have to do is count all of my square units. So if I do that, I would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that dimension is 10. And then I would count down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this dimension is 9. And the area would be 90 square units. All right. Now, in investigation 3, it would be kind of similar. Your job would be to trace this on graph paper, which you don't have, and cut it out, rearrange it as a rectangle, and paste it here. Can't really do that, so I'm just going to show you what you would do. To find the area, you would count the base. So the base here has 1, 2, 3 units. So the base is 3. Now to get the height, you want to make sure you go straight up on this dotted line. Don't go slanted. That's not what you do. So you go 1, 2, 3. So the height would be 3. And to find the area, you would just do, remember, its area is base times height, and 3 times 3 is 9 square units. All right, because now is where you're going to have to do a little bit of work. So I'm going to show you 2 of these, and you'll have to do the rest. And then on the next page, I'll show you a couple that you have to do on that page. So I'm going to start you off. I will show you what you're supposed to do with problem number 1. So in 1, and I guess we'll do another one down below, you have to find the area. Now what we're going to do is we're going to count the square units to get the base. And remember, the height is straight up. So if I'm counting over here, I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So I would get 16 units for my base. Now to get the height, to going straight up, you can pick anywhere on the parallelogram and count straight up. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 units. So my height is 4. And to find the area, and yes, you could use a calculator, I would do 16 times 4, which is 64. Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to try to do number 4 just like that. So do 4. You're going to pause the video and write your numbers in and write the area, and then restart it and see if you are correct. So pause the video now. All right, let's see if you got it right. So to find the base, I'm going to count my units. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Don't count that. It's not part of the parallelogram. So you should have 13 down here. Let me zoom in. It might make it easier. And then for my height, I'm going to count, remember, straight up. 1, 2, 3, 4. So to find my area, I do 13 times 4, which is 52. All right, I think I'm going to have you do one more, and then you'll finish the rest on this page on your own. So why don't we go down? I'm going to have you do 8. So pause the video, do 8, and when you're done, restart it, and we'll see if you're right. Go. All right, so here's what you should have for the base. Remember, just count the ones that are in the parallelogram. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. My base is 11 units going across, and my height, I'm going to count straight up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So my height is 6. And to find the area, you do 11 times 6, which is 66. Okay. So now you have to finish the rest out of these 10 problems on this page on your own. I'm not going to go over those with you here, but I will when you hand in your work. And then I want to just show you a couple out of the table from 11 through 17. You don't have to do these problems down here, so we're going to focus on the table. So take a look at the example here. It says rectangle 1. They give you the length and the width, and parallelogram would have the same base and the height, and the area would be 12 because it's just 6 times 2 is 12. So I'll show you one, and I think you're going to be like, yeah, this part is easy. I'll show you, let's say, number 14. So the rectangle would have a length of 10 and a width of 6. The corresponding parallelogram would have a base of 10 and the width of 6. So they're the same dimensions, because remember before, the rectangle and the parallelogram don't change. And to find the area in square units, you would just do 10 times 6, which would be 60. Okay. So your last job is to finish this table. It's kind of pretty simple. Yes, you could use a calculator, and then you're done with the inquiry lab. All right, thanks, guys.